how have you been able to handle the roller coaster of emotions between making the roster in the NFL for the Bengals and being the Bengals punter to seeing them draft somebody else, going through a competition, and then getting cut in camp? I mean, that is the definition of a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, I mean, even looking back to my first year as a rookie, when I was off and on the practice squad, I think I was cut. I think it was 6 times.
Jeez.
My first year.
Yeah.
Now I understood the business of it a little bit. They'd explain like, hey, there's a spot open next week. We'll bring you back. But there was no guarantee. I'd be sitting there on Tuesday. Tuesday was the day that we either get a call, either we're getting cut or we're going to get brought back to the roster or practice squad in some fashion. So there were some very long Tuesdays throughout that year.
Yeah.
And just hoping. Some weeks hoping the phone rang, and some weeks hoping the phone didn't ring.
Right.
Hoping that you didn't get cut that week. So it was an adjustment from college. Just how safe of a situation I felt like I was in Columbus and then you just get thrown into really the business. It really feels like it's a business, and at this point now, I really understand that. Getting cut for now my 7th or 8th time. I've been through it. And this is typical how, an undrafted player goes. Most of the time it doesn't work out, as Joe Burrow getting drafted first overall, all of a sudden you're signing this highest paid contract. You see that, but for every one of those guys, there's 10 of the guys who are, just scratching and crawling for anything.
Yeah.
And every single week there's a whole new cycle of workouts and guys get new opportunities that you might not even know about.
Yeah.
And especially in the specialist world. I mean, it really is just a merry-go-round of just hoping for the right opportunity and hoping it sticks. You can stay there as long as possible. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work out there, then there's another team that you might be able to fit a piece into. It might be a better situation.
Right.
So that's kind of the situation I am now, and understanding the business side of it has helped me, at least understand that and kind of make more sense of it than if this would have been happening as like a rookie.
Right.
It would have been a lot harder to process, I would say.
You mentioned your rookie year when you got cut 5, 6, 7 times. You don't know if you'd be able to have this same perspective. Were there dark nights, dark days when you were getting cut every 2 or 3 weeks? And how did you navigate, that sadness? Would you say you suffered from any type of anxiety, depression during that season?
I would say in a small amount. Yeah. Just going back to, thinking everything was going to be like college where it's just so guaranteed 1 week to the next. Yeah. I mean, there was sometimes I'd get cut and then the phone wouldn't ring for a month and I'd be going to work out, just doing the same routine, just putting the time in and just hoping for anything, and then nothing would come. And you're just like, gosh, I mean, I feel like this is what, God's telling me I'm supposed to be doing, and it's just not working out. Like, why am I not on a team somewhere? Why am I not, at least sticking on the practice squad for more than a week at a time?
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to the point sometimes where I just would lose some morning's motivation to get up and go lift. I'm like, is this even worth it? Is this going to put the time in? And so I'd say some weeks of that season I've spent less time working out and maybe more time on the couch playing video games, just waiting for the time to go by until Tuesday the next week, hoping to get a call. And so that was it was interesting. It was an interesting process, but I think from that, having that perspective in a way has made me stronger from it, coming through that. And then even last year, going through an entire preseason training camp and actually getting a chance to compete, and then not getting the job when I felt like I had done enough to earn a job there. And luckily, again, the Bengals liked me enough to keep me on the practice squad, but even that felt like a little bit of a shot to the morale, and I felt like I'd put enough work in and had earned the right to be the guy at that time. But again, God had a plan, and he just needed me to be patient. Mm-hmm. And so I was patient through it and trusted that process, and luckily it worked out. But I don't know if I would have had that same patience if I wasn't in the situation I was with the family and the support that I had around me. I could have very easily just got up and like, screw this isn't working out. I'm washing my hands with this and moving on to the next thing. But yeah, having that support, it helped me stick through some of those darker, uneasy weeks that the calls didn't come.